Hello, everybody. Dr. Yang here. The last time we spoke, I had the opportunity to talk to you all about qualitative data and how we make sense of stories as researchers. For this presentation, we will be looking at the ways that we can use quantitative or numerical data to tell stories. This is a lot. I'm going to break it down into a couple parts, but please know that this is here if you need it. So first things first, remember that when we are talking about data, there's lots of different types of data available to us. But at the end of the day, the purpose of all data is for us to understand. We want to understand a story. We want to understand lived experience. We want to understand need. All of those considerations will come into play when we're looking at data. But remember, qualitative data, we're looking at the stories, we're looking at an iterative process where we, the researchers, are part of the tools. And then quantitative data is using the numbers and making a inference or analysis about data from a numerical source. So remember, we have different levels of measurement. You probably learned about this in part 1. I know that says PSBP, but that's an old notation that should say SPSS. But we want to make sure that we are very clear for ourselves about whether the data that we're working with is nominal, ordinal, or scale. And so we talk about this a little in some of the help videos going through SPSS. So there are other opportunities to learn about this. But it's really important that we are clear for ourselves on the level of measurement that we are covering. So remember, the different levels of measurement help us to think about the ways that we will use that data on the back end. So when we talk about nominal data, these are things that have discrete categories that are like only a name, okay? Gender, okay? Race, ethnicity, things like that. We're not ranking them. There's no numerical difference between one category or the other, but we have different categories to help us sort people into buckets. Ordinal is when you have 3 or more rank ordered levels. So there's not an equal interval, but there is a difference between the answer choices. So think about Likert scales. Where you have an answer of like yes, no, maybe, or agree, neither agree nor disagree, or disagree. It's hard to say the like specific distance between agree and disagree, but we know that an agreement is different than a disagreement. Now, we also have interval and ratio data. Interval is data where we are evenly spaced. And then ratio is a variable where there's a true zero, so like a temperature or a height. Whereas like an interval might be freshman, sophomore, junior, senior, or something like that. You could really argue that either interval or ordinal, but really what we're looking at is, do we have nominal, do we have ordinal, or do we have scaled data? Interval and ratio are often treated as the same, and when you put them into SPSS, they are going to function the same way. So again, here's just another way to think about the differences between the nominal, ordinal, interval, and ratio. So here's some more examples for you. When we talk about those 2 or more categories, we're looking at religion, we're looking at ethnicity, we're looking at gender. So we're going to assign codes to these in our data, right? So we're going to create a code book that says something like male equals 1, female equals 2, trans equals 3. Non-conforming equals 4, other equals 5. But there's not a numerical difference. Like we could put them in any order. Other could be 1. There's no reason why male was 1. Whereas ordinal, there are still no specific interval, but those codes do have some meaning, like with the Likert scales. Or educational attainment, right? If you have a PhD, you have more education than an associate's. How much more is not a specific interval, but they have meaning. Interval, there is meaningful distance, but not a true zero. So like an IQ measure, think about a standard IQ is approximately 100. And then when we talk about standard deviations away from normal, then we start talking about whether someone is considered to have a pathology or to be gifted. And then ratio, we're looking at things like height, weight, age, any of those sorts of variables. So I realize that this is a simple start, but the purpose behind this was to give us just a little bit of information to help us frame how we are going to do a quantitative analysis. So hopefully this was a review and not too confusing, but we will certainly have the opportunity to chat more when we move on into part 2 of our quantitative data. Bye, everybody.